Hello, and welcome to my first podcast. I'm Diane of the Island Lamb, and I live on a small island off the coast of southern Rhode Island. We have a robust tourist season, and the rest of the year, the island is quiet and peaceful. We have stone walls and rolling fields, cliffs, and ocean views from every vantage, and it's the perfect place to knit. And now it's the perfect place to talk to you about knitting. So I've been knitting since I was a child. My grandmother acquainted me with stitches because she would drop stitches and I would find them and pick them up for her and count stitches and keep her on track. And then when I was 14, I had mononucleosis and I had to stay in all summer long. And my mother handed me a Fair Isle knitting pattern, and I believe it was fingering weight yarn, and I knit my first two-color stranded Fair Isle sweater, and I was hooked. But I will say I had about a 20-year lapse in my knitting while I worked in the business world, and my husband and I lived in various places in the country. And then 23 years ago, we made a huge decision to leave our corporate jobs, buy a small business on this island, and live a more authentic life. And that's what we've been doing. And it has been the best decision we've made aside from getting married. And so now I am knitting nonstop. And I want to start off by saying thank you to all the podcasters and vloggers and video makers who have, especially during COVID, who have kept me entertained and got my creative juices flowing. It started with Fruity Knitting, and from Fruity Knitting I went to Andrea Mowry, and then Mrs. Valgreen, and most recently, because I've been watching a lot of first episodes, just podcast, just to see what it would be like, you know, if I were to do this myself, and what would that first episode feel like. And I have to say that I really enjoyed watching Bobby of the Knitter's Niche, and I think a couple of things. I think one, we're similar in age and have a similar background in knitting, and I noticed a lot of her finished items, including her mesh market bags, and are a lot of the things that I have also knit, and I just loved her approach. And I think that she encouraged me, and she said, you can do it. So here we are, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So I am wearing a Norah Gaughan design, and this particular pattern was in this booklet. And I don't know how many of you remember what life was like before the internet and before Knit Companion and YouTube, but we used to buy these booklets or patterns, and we would drool over them, and we would make everything, try to make everything that was in these little booklets. And so I have many of these. This is volume 12, and this was put out by Berrocco. And I do believe that I probably have every collection that was released by Berrocco. So I made this in the called for yarn, which was the Berrocco Maya, and it's since been discontinued, but I will say I have noticed a lot of you knitters have this in your stash on Ravelry, and you don't look like you want to part with it, and I don't blame you. It was a lot of fun working with this yarn. This pattern I knit on a size 8 needle, and this colorway was Cerulean, I believe. It's a cool rosy orange. I have a little difficulty wearing some oranges. I have cool skin tone, so this is just a really gorgeous orange, and I chose to wear this on my first episode because it's kind of fallish. So what else can I tell you about this? It's very comfortable. It's a double seed stitch, so it's a moss stitch, and it's knit across this way. So you cast on for the sleeve, you have some excitement with some little lace work here and some cables, and then the rest of it is just a simple knit. You work across, you pick up for the back, you drop off for the front, and then you continue to work across and pick up the other sleeve. So it's a great project, and it's a nice sweater to wear this time of year. So that brings me to what's hanging behind me, and like a lot of you, I had to knit the half and half triangle. I love the Pearl Soho linen quill yarn, and this is the third one. It all started because I bought 2 colors, which led me to needing 2 other color combinations, and finally a third color combination. It's beautiful. I get what you all said. It's a meditative knit. It's garter stitch, endless garter stitch. I use the German short row method, and I also use the Gentle Knitter, who is another great podcaster. I used her suggestion and did the I-cord edging. Beautiful. So a question I had to ponder is, if you made 3 of these or more, like some of you have, if you're like me, and I made the size large, but if you're like me, you ended up with quite a bit of leftover yarn. I have almost 400 yards of each of these colors. So I hope in my next episode, I can show you what I did with 3 of those colors. I'm kind of excited about it. I had this oatmeal. This is the gray oatmeal. I had the jade and the antique celadon left over. And I searched for what can I do with this yarn, and I decided to give Andrea Mowry's stone crop pullover a shot. So I just bound off the neck and the sleeves. I'm finishing the bottom rib. I'm going to block it, and I hope in my next episode I can wear that and talk to you about that. What is happening behind this is the beautiful number 9 sweater. The number 9 sweater is by My Favorite Things. And I do love a classic raglan. This has like a little double decrease going on. I made this in the Ultra Alpaca Chunky by Berrocco. I had some of this in my stash. This is a 50% superfine alpaca and 50% Peruvian wool. I believe I made this on a size 10 needle. And it's a little, and it hasn't been blocked yet. It fits beautifully. You know, it's a little, I feel the wool. I think it's going to be fine. But I also have some baby alpaca grande in my stash. And I think that I want to make this again in black with that alpaca. I think that's going to be lovely. So stay tuned for that. I have a lot of finished projects over the years that I think I will just wear one each episode and maybe show 1 or 2 as we go along. I do want to talk about what I'm thinking about. So I signed up for the Stephen West MCAL. It would be my first MCAL. And I ordered their yarn from them in Amsterdam. And I knew that was kind of risky. But I hadn't tried the Isager, I-S-A-G-E-R, that brand. I hadn't tried their yarn yet, and I picked a gorgeous combination. Had kind of a lichen green, soft lichen green, and a soft dusty blue-gray, and kind of a beigey brown. And I got an email saying that they ran out of the lichen color and they wouldn't be able to fill the order. And did I want to pick something else? And here we are, we're less than 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks now for the first clue. So I am going to go off island tomorrow on the ferry, and I'm going to go to my local yarn shop and I'm going to see what I can find. Now in my stash, I have this Remix Light by Berrocco. Yes, I did buy a lot of Berrocco yarn in my day and stashed it. This is 100% recyclable fibers, and that kind of excites me. It's 30% nylon, okay, and we know how we feel about nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, and 9% linen. But it's really feels good, and it's very pretty. It's a nice teal color, and I have a lot of it. It was made in France. It's very light. It's I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of these skeins to my local yarn shop tomorrow and see if I can find my complementary color and my pop color and see if I can use this. I would love to be able to do that. The next thing I'm thinking about is, and I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce this, but this is the, oops, let's see if I can get this back on here. This is the O-R-A-E-F-I with a double umlaut over the O, so I think it's Orefi. And it is a gorgeous Lopi light yoke. I believe this has been on Ravelry for quite a while now. It's got a big cowl and chart work, love it. 2 colors should be an easy use of colorways. I did buy the Lopi Light in the black heather and the white, and I'm really looking forward to putting this on the needles. So I think for my first episode, I did what am I wearing, what have I finished, what am I thinking about. I am thinking about a lot of great things right now because I'm going to go to Rhinebeck for the first time with my cousin and my very good friend. So we're three great knitters. My friend Yvonne lives on Martha's Vineyard, so she's another island girl. And my cousin lives in Rhode Island, so we're all going to meet up in Rhode Island. We're going to drive up to Northampton, Massachusetts. We're going to spend the night outside of Northampton where the Webb's yarn shop is. And then we're going to take their bus trip up to Rhinebeck. So I don't know if I'll have an episode 2 before that. I hope to, but if not, I will see you again after Rhinebeck. Thank you for watching. Bye.